All right, what's going on, guys? I hope you're doing well. I wanted to make a video showing the towing aspect on a 3/4 ton truck. If some of you may remember, I made a couple of videos with me towing my 1/2 ton truck before trading it in on that amazing deal. And so I did one on just a regular highway, and then also did one towing in the mountains. I'm going to do both with this. This is going to be a little bit different because we are actually taking a cross-country trip from North Carolina to Arizona, up to Utah, back across the northern route, back to North Carolina. So plenty of time, plenty of terrain, a lot of good stuff. Got some video with, high winds, mountains, all that good stuff. I think it's going to help some folks out. Hopefully it brings some clarity to the discussion between the 1/2 ton versus a 3/4 ton truck. Take all the extra fluff out of it, all the bravado, macho. Let's have a real conversation. All right. Hope this helps. Enjoy.
Okay, Trey, I got this.
All right, guys, so the purpose of this video is to bridge the gap that I've identified and many of you have identified between the 1/2 ton truck driver or tower of a travel trailer and the 3/4 ton or even 1 ton truck tower of a travel trailer. I think it's important that we work to bridge this gap, as opposed to what we've heard and what I've heard a lot of is, 1/2 ton truck towers who say we can tow anything in the world, just send it, and 3/4 ton truck and even some 1 ton towers that say, oh, you're crazy for even considering towing something that's within the limits of a 1500 or a 1/2 ton truck, calling those folks crazy. So I think there's a happy median and there's a common sense approach to it. But it also requires that there's some understanding of the differences between the two trucks, the differences that people hold amongst themselves, comfort levels, all of that good stuff. And so there's a lot of different things to consider that I think aren't often considered. Hopefully this video will help with that. That's my goal. Yes, I'm coming from a 1/2 ton truck. I switched to a 3/4 ton truck only because of payload, not because of performance. And with the 1/2 ton truck, I've driven over the mountains, to the beach, flatlands, hills, all of that. So that the 1/2 ton has been tried and true and is tested to be able to handle the job of a 32-foot trailer all in and stay under, the proper numbers if we need to stay under. But I also always have said that the day where we see we can no longer do that, that will be the day the tow vehicle changes, which is why I'm in a 3/4 ton truck now. There's a big misconception out there that, those of us who are people who have 3/4 ton trucks never have to worry about sway. And that's the furthest thing from the truth. You don't address sway with a heavier truck. You address sway through the point of connection, which is the hitch. So me personally, I've been using a Blue Ox Sway Pro. I use it for my 1/2 ton. I'm using it for this, and it works well. Everybody doesn't want the same thing. People like different things, and they're comfortable with different types of hitches and tow vehicles. So again, my goal for this, just to bridge that gap, guys. We can do it safely with both, but there comes a point to where you have to be realistic with yourself and say, hey, look, the 1/2 ton is just not going to do it anymore from a legality standpoint. Making sure you're staying within your payload, because obviously you don't want to be over your numbers, get into an accident, and now you have a legal issue. Would it be hard for them to prove that? Yes. Would, people, the probability of that happening and them checking to see what your weights are, probably pretty low, but it does exist. So I think that's important for us to realize and at least take into account. All right, guys, so we're towing. We have made it across the country. We're in New Mexico now, still on the way to Arizona. We just went through Albuquerque. One thing I want to talk about is the experience so far going cross country with this 3/4 ton truck towing the 32-foot trailer. The first thing I'll say is I am still just as confident as I was before purchasing this 3/4 ton truck that my 1/2 ton truck would have done just fine. Now, what would have been a major difference isn't so much on the machinery, it's more so on me. I've had to work less hard in kind of controlling and looking at some things than I would have if I had the 1/2 ton truck. I could have done it. It would have been more fatiguing, but it would have still been safe. The biggest thing that I like about this is, and the best way for me to say it is, the 1/2 ton truck, you have to drive it. The 3/4 ton truck with this trailer, you just have to steer the truck. The truck will drive. And what I mean by that is the proactive piece that you have to have that's heightened when you're driving the half-ton truck versus here, I can kind of dictate some of the situations I'll find myself in. With the 3/4 ton truck, it gives you a little bit of cushion. Is this a better towing vehicle for this rig? Absolutely. I've said that in my other videos. This isn't anything new. This is something we all can probably agree on. So yes, this will be better, and it has been better, and I'm glad that I'm driving a 3/4 ton truck across country and not the half ton. However, had I not come across the great deal that I had I not been in the position to get a 3/4 ton truck with the market the way it is, and had I not even had a need to move up due to different family shifts, then, you know, hey, I'll be doing this right now, talking to you from a half-ton truck perspective, and we'd be just fine. Wind, I can tell you right now, we've crossed the plains, we're in New Mexico now. You'll actually see signs that say, you know, danger, high winds. So those things are realities. Those things are real things that you have to deal with. And I can tell you right now, I don't care what size truck you have, when wind hits you, you're going to move. You're going to feel it. And so wind is going to impact any size truck. If it impacts an 18-wheeler, it's going to impact the 3/4 ton truck. It's going to impact a half-ton truck. So let's kill that misconception right now when people try to make 3/4 ton trucks and 1-ton trucks act like they are God on the road. It's just not the case. Is it better? Yes, it is better. But it does not change the fact that you can do it safely with a half-ton truck. One of the big things, again, that I've really put to the test and that I enjoy is the 3/4 ton truck is much more planted to the ground. That's just a law of physics. It's a heavier truck. Now, one thing I'll tell you is the half-ton truck, when towing, the same rig did better on gas. I was about 9 to 9.5 on a good day, miles per gallon. This, if I can hit 8 consistently, I'm happy. And so that's just something to really think about. It's windy, so let's talk a little bit about the differences between a 3/4 ton truck and a half-ton truck in these type of conditions. First thing is your rules of approach shouldn't change. Your rules of safety should not change. It really shouldn't. Just because you're in a larger, heavier truck doesn't mean you take any less precaution. The speed limit on this stretch of 40 is 75 miles an hour. I am going 65 miles an hour. I slowed down because the wind was really pressing, right? Now I'm accelerating back up, and I'll probably cap it off around 70. I'm at 69, 70 miles an hour right now. The reason I say that is because if a gust is not too fast to where if the gust of wind pushes, that I can't recover faster or fast enough. If I was driving in a half-ton truck, I would be going probably 60 right now. Right now I'm going 67 as we're going uphill. And here's a good example. You see a truck, an 18-wheeler's coming up. I feel the push a little bit, but here's the difference. I felt the push, I just didn't feel the push as strong. But that should be expected because you're dealing with a heavier truck, a heavy-duty truck. But the push and the effects of it is still there. And that's something I want people to understand. Very important that we realize this. The impact may not be as bad. There's not as many limitations. However, there is still a reality that you have to come to grips with, that the forces on the road will still impact you, even if you're in a 3/4 ton truck. Ignore the fact that my kid is knocked out, both of them. I mean, they're knocked out like somebody slapped them. They didn't, I promise, they're just asleep. But we're about 7 miles from the petrified forest in Arizona on Interstate 40. And the wind is really, really rocking right now. I'm trying to get the best picture of the trailer that I can. See if I can let you see it that way. Maybe this when the wind pushes, it doesn't matter what size vehicle you have. Now, this truck is better planted than a half-ton would be, but I've been in high winds like this before in the half-ton, and it's not that far off. There is a difference. I'm not gonna sit here and act like there's not. There is a difference, but it's not as far off as people like to try to make it. Still need to have a good weight distribution hitch. I have a Blue Ox. Other people like other brands, that's fine. Blue Ox has been nothing more or nothing less than phenomenal for me. With the half-ton, it's been just as good, if not better, with the 3/4 ton truck, so I don't plan on going anywhere. However, that's a personal preference. Just make sure you have one. All right, guys, so I wanted to get this on video. I'm in Utah going up a really steep hill, and I gotta tell you, while this truck is awesome, it's planted, it gives you great stability. I am at 5,000 RPMs right now going up this hill with probably about 3/4 of a mile hill. The speed limit is 65, and I was maintaining 65, but man, this thing was pumping. And I can honestly tell you, my 1500 V8 Hemi e-torque with the 3.92 gears did significantly better on hills like that going up than this just did. Now, when you're talking about stability, comfort, well, not so much comfort, they're about even on comfort in my opinion. Actually just the riding of it, but stability of the vehicle, 2,500 all day long. It's not even close. Security, safety, the ease of driving, 2,500, especially when you're talking about towing anyway. But just sheer power, quickness, and ability to move and get up to speed. Believe it or not, the 392 gear V8 Hemi, 5.7 liter Hemi, did better than my 6.4 Hemi, 3.73 gears. And so I know a lot of you are going to say, well, obviously, Nick, you should have had the 410s. I get that. But how many times, for me personally, am I going to be driving up a mountain that steep of a grade? It still did it. It had to work, but it still got the job done. And so I'm still satisfied with it, but I wanted to make sure I got that piece on video. And it's pulling them at RPMs, the hill. And this is with 373 gear ratio. Obviously with 410s, it would probably do a little bit better. The truck is phenomenal. I have no regrets on getting this truck. It's handled well. It's comfortable. The air suspension is amazing. 1500 has the four corner air suspension. The 2500 only has air suspension in the back, but it makes such a difference in the ride, whether you're towing or not towing. And if you can remember, there's a video I have when I'm actually test driving a 2500 Laramie Mega Cab, just like this. Well, this is a limited, but the Laramie was a Mega Cab as well. This is a Mega Cab. And the Laramie did not have the air suspension, and it was terrible. I can tell you right now, I would not have purchased at least this 2500 without, I can't say that because I mean, I didn't have a choice. I was at the point where we couldn't maintain payload, so we would have gotten it, but I would have been a lot more reluctant to get that 2500 versus this had it not had the air suspension. The air suspension makes a world of difference. I can even feel it when I'm towing and how it controls the trailer a little bit, and how it kind of helps to absorb some of the bounce, and it just makes it really, really comfortable, a really comfortable ride. All right, guys, so I'm actually on the IKE Gauntlet, as TFL calls it. I don't know if they named it or not, but I like what they put out, the content. So how's the truck doing? I'm at 4,500 RPMs, 56 miles an hour, climbing. I have a, I think it's weighing in about 7,600 pound trailer, and we're rolling. I mean, it's screaming. I'm coming up to 5,000 RPMs, 58 miles an hour. So it is working. Let's be very clear, it's working. Let's see if I can maintain 60. My foot is all the way to the floor, and you see what we've got there. Speed limit is dropping to 50. It's slowly climbing up to 60. Now that speed limit is dropped to 50, I'm going to drop down. I'm in tow haul mode, as you can see. Pedals down to the floor, and I'm struggling to be at 44. I am still floored to the ground. And this thing is drinking gas. Not only is it rough on your truck or your vehicle, it's also rough on that gas tank. This is why you get a diesel if you're going to be making a trip like this consistently. I have to believe the diesel would have taken that in a much, much, much different way. That terrain ate this truck's lunch, to be honest with you. It gave it all it could handle and some. I was flooring it, and in tow haul mode, and did everything I could to even touch 60. Right when we pass into Colorado from Utah, as you can see right here, rock comes up, boom, hits my windshield. Just got my tent put on it last week. Hopefully safe I can fix it, but I'm not sure what that process looks like. All right, so we're going down, 65, 64. It's back up to 65, so it is accelerating a little bit. Holding 65 as we're going down. 63, 62. And I want you to see the sign for yourself. I'm at 60 as we're going down, right? You see it. I'm at 58 now. 5 and 6% grades next 4 miles. I'm going to accelerate up to 65 miles an hour, which is the speed limit, and let's see what happens. All right, let me get up there. All right, so I'm at 65 now, 66, and I'm coasting. Literally coasting. Foot is not on the gas. Foot is not on the brake. 67. Still maintaining 67. Yeah, still at 67. You guys are seeing it right now. This is how this truck performs. Elevation is 9,100 feet. The gas consumption, the fuel consumption is a serious thing to consider if you're going to be towing in the mountains, heavy duty, with a 75 plus 100-pound trailer. If you really want to know what your truck is made of, this is a great way to find out. The elevation is really the key though. And that's the big thing. The elevation is truly, truly the key that makes it different from mountains on the East Coast to mountains on the West Coast. And the longevity of the climb. This is a tough climb, guys. All right, so we are now on the other side of Denver. We're at probably a few miles from Kansas. And so as you can see, we're in the plains right now. And the wind is pretty aggressive. You hear a lot on social media about people talking about how wind is really a difficult thing when you're crossing the plains. Kansas, Colorado, New Mexico, some other places, Oklahoma, where it's really flat. And they are absolutely right. Right now, I mean, it's rough, guys. I mean, it's probably the roughest wind we've had. I'm driving primarily with 2 hands. Today is requiring 2 hands because the wind, I mean, it's literally moving the truck, I mean, significantly. And this is with a 3/4 ton truck. This right now, in this moment right here, and as much of a half-ton lover as I am, I'm very glad that I have the 3/4 ton truck. I'm still comfortable, but there are times when it's like, woo, you know, the wind really comes and takes control, and you're just doing all you can to navigate through it. So if this is happening with a 3/4 ton truck, you have to be realistic with yourself. You know, how much more difficult would it be with the half-ton? And I still say you could do it. You'd probably going about 50 miles an hour if you had a half-ton. If I was in a half-ton right now, I would not go any higher than 50. And even with all of this, I'm at 72 right now. I've been fluctuating between 65 and 72. I have not had to use my trailer brake at all the entire trip until about 10 minutes ago, and I'm working harder than I've had to work all trip. I'm still comfortable, and I think that's attributed to the stability and the planted base of a 3/4 ton truck. So when I talk about, when you hear me say, yes, the 3/4 ton truck would tow this trailer better, that's what I mean. But I'm not demeaning the half-ton truck, because you can still get it done, but you're gonna have to work harder. Again, this is why I'm saying, guys, even though you have a bigger truck, that doesn't mean it's gonna stop sway. That doesn't mean, or eliminate sway, that doesn't mean it's going to eliminate wind. Even if you have one of the higher end hitches that takes away sway completely, that wind is still going to move your truck or your tow vehicle. And so that's something you have to be willing to accept and understand. And on a long trip like this, if you have the option, it just makes sense to go with the vehicle that's going to, you know, make it easier for you to get to your destination. Now, the bad thing about this, again, with a heavier, bigger truck, is the gas mileage. We're going into a headwind. At one point, I was getting 5.7 miles to the gallon, which is the lowest I've ever seen this truck get, or any truck towing, you know, on flat, well, relatively flat lands. But going into the headwind, I mean, even right now, my MPG is 6.2, and I'm fluctuating between about 65 and 72 miles per hour. If I was to stay at 65, I would probably be in the sweet spot where you get the best performance and best gas mileage, but I would lose time. All right, so we are leaving St. Louis now, headed to Nashville for our last stop before we head to home base in North Carolina. I wanted to talk really quickly about the Nitto Ridge Grapplers. The Nitto Ridge Grapplers have done phenomenally well, done very, very well. The only complaint I would have is I've had to, about 3 times over the 16-day period, I've had to increase my my tire pressure. on all 4 tires. They all went down evenly. Did get an oil change when I was in Colorado, and I think they aired my tire pressure down. I don't think they realized I was towing, which is fine. They were doing all in good sport, I think, and good service, but I went ahead and aired them up, but then I had to air it up twice more after that, overnight, which is a little weird, but they all go down evenly. So that's, again, why I think it has something to do more so with tire or temperature, and it's the temperature change and climate and elevation. So, but they've done really well. They've hung in there tight. Nitto Ridge Grappler is a great tire. I've been running them on my 2 half-ton trucks, and this is the first time I've run them on a 2500, and do really well, quiet, have great grip. All right, so one thing to talk about is the stability. A lot of times you'll hear people say when you move up to a 3/4 ton truck or a 1 ton truck that you won't even know the trailer's back there. And a lot of times people get into, you know, little scuffles or debates on it. And it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek type statement. It's kind of a literal and a figurative statement that's combined. So what I mean by that is, you're gonna know the trailer's back there. I mean, you'll know that you're towing a trailer. But there have been times on this trip where I have subconsciously forgotten that I had a trailer behind me. That would never happen with a half ton. I always knew I was towing a trailer. I never forgot that I was towing a trailer. That has actually happened a couple of times. Now, I've spent a lot of hours on the road, right? One way was 31 hours. So, you know, you're looking at 62 hours round trip. You're gonna learn your different driving habits and tendencies. So you'll know that you are towing a trailer. But there are times when you can actually get so comfortable and forget because of the stability of the truck. So again, this is one of those reasons why I say, yes, a 3/4 ton truck will definitely be better than a half ton truck to tow this rig. Doesn't mean you can't do it safely with a 1500 or a half ton. But one of those limitations I'm not dealing with now is the constant presence of I'm towing a trailer. Like right now, I know I'm towing, but I'm driving very comfortably, almost like if I didn't have it from a steering standpoint. The half-ton truck, you have to drive the truck. You have to drive the trailer. And I think that's what people are trying to say. Yes, it is better than a half-ton, but even in these conditions, a half-ton would not be terrible. I've been in it before. So for all you naysayers that say half-tons can't do it, you're wrong. For all you half-ton drivers out there that think you can do anything, you're wrong. Make sure you have use good wisdom, use common sense, think through the process. But you can do it and just do it safely.